You've been lied to. You've been told that fruits and vegetables are the foundation of a healthy diet. But that claim isn't backed up by any science. Really, it's just ideology. When you go beyond the mainstream messaging and look into the actual science and nutrition of these foods, you find out that reality is a lot different than what you've been told. Not only are fruits and vegetables overrated from a nutritional point of view, they actually may be bad for us overall. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but don't worry, I'm going to explain exactly why in this video. The first reason that fruits and vegetables are overrated is simply because of the lack of bioavailability in their nutrients. So bioavailability is basically a measure of how much of the nutrients in a given food is the human body actually able to absorb and use usefully. It doesn't matter if you eat a bunch of nutrients, but they go right through you. What really matters is that you get those nutrients into your body and your body is actually able to absorb them. And with plants, that absorbability or the bioavailability of these nutrients is very low. This is really an issue with fruits and vegetables and other kinds of plant foods as a whole. At least in my research, I haven't found a single nutrient that is more bioavailable in plants like fruits and vegetables than it is in animal products, say like meat or dairy or anything like that. It is basically a constant theme that fruits and vegetables and plants in general will have lower bioavailability. So what does this actually mean in practice, right? It means that if you're eating, say, random number, 20 grams of iron from spinach, let's say, right? Well, on the surface, by weight, that spinach, yeah, it has 20 grams. But the bioavailability of the iron in the spinach is only about 1 to 5%. Whereas, on the contrary, let's say you're eating red meat, right? Let's say you're eating a steak and you get the same 20 grams of iron from there. I know 20 grams isn't a realistic number. I'm just using it as an example. The bioavailability of the iron in the steak is somewhere around 25 to 35%. So this means that even in two scenarios, two foods where they had by weight the exact same amount of iron, well, your body is going to use, what even does that end up being as a percentage? It's like 10 to 15 times more potentially. It's going to absorb 10 to 15 times more iron from the steak than it will from the spinach. What that means is that, while you're eating a bunch of fruits and vegetables thinking that you're being very healthy, in reality, you're not, because your body is simply not absorbing as much nutrients as you think it is from the plant foods. And that is why, in large part, fruits and vegetables are overrated from a nutritional point of view. The next reason why fruits and vegetables are overrated is actually quite similar to the first point, and it kind of builds on it further. So the second reason is because plants and fruits and vegetables have something called anti-nutrients. So these anti-nutrients, kind of exactly how it sounds, they're like against nutrition. Basically, they block the ability of your body to actually make use and absorb those nutrients. So again, that's partly the reason why plant foods aren't so bioavailable for us, and the nutrients in them, while on the surface they may look like, again, spinach may have 20 grams of iron and 20 grams of zinc or whatever, right? In reality, it doesn't when it actually goes into your body. But the specific point I want to make with anti-nutrients is that it actually takes that first point a step further, because the anti-nutrients in fruits and vegetables don't only block the absorption of the nutrients from the plant, from like the fruit or vegetable itself. If that was the case, yeah, that would be bad, but it wouldn't be as bad as what I'm about to tell you. The thing is that these anti-nutrients in these vegetables, not only will they block the nutrients within the vegetables or fruits themselves, they'll also block the ability for your body to absorb nutrients from any other kind of food that you're eating with them. So let's say you're eating some kind of vegetable with your steak, right? And this vegetable has anti-nutrients. Let's just say it blocks iron absorbability in the body, right? So not only will the iron from the whatever vegetable you're eating be blocked, the iron that you're eating from the steak will also be blocked in your body from being absorbed because of the anti-nutrients in the vegetable or fruit. So again, really, it's just you're eating fruits and vegetables thinking that it's the foundation of a healthy diet and you're really doing your body favors. You're eating eating the forest or eating the wild or whatever. You're eating all the colors in the wild. You're being very healthy, but in reality, you're not. You are actually basically taking 2 steps back in terms of your nutrition, and you're making your overall nutrition worse. The third reason that fruits and vegetables are overrated is because they have something called plant defense chemicals. Now, in the nature, we know that animals defend themselves. If we go and try and hunt a cow or whatever, let's say, right, and it understands that we're trying to, hunt it and kill it or something like that, it's gonna run away or it's gonna fight back. It's gonna have some kind of defense, right? But a lot of people think that, with plants, that they're just completely defenseless. Like you can just, go mow the grass and you can just kill a plant and whatever, and it has no defenses. And I understand why a lot of people think that, because again, you don't see plants like running at you and coming to beat you up, throw hands at you, right? Obviously, you don't see that because plants, for the most part, are not able to have physical defenses like that. But that doesn't mean that plants are defenseless as a whole. The defense that plants have is more chemical defense and sort of biological warfare. And that's exactly what you need to be worried about, and why these plant defense chemicals show up. It's the plant's mechanism of defending itself from being eaten by different animals, or us, for example. Now, getting into the specifics of different plant defense chemicals is beyond the scope of this video, and really even beyond the scope of myself. I can merely inform you that they do exist and they do have harms. But if you want to go into a lot more detail upon them, you can search in the YouTube search bar a video by Dr. Anthony Chaffee just titled "Plants Are Trying to Kill You." It's like a 40-minute talk, and it goes very in-depth onto this specific topic with specific examples of different compounds and these defense chemicals in foods that are in like minor doses, or sometimes the minor ones are like just like, they might be a little bit bad for our health. But some of these plant defense chemicals, if eaten in a high enough dose, can actually be fatal. So it's really nothing to be, it's nothing to scoff at. It's very actually important, and you probably should look into it and understand the harm you're doing, whether minor or major, whenever you're consuming any kind of plant product. The next reason why fruits and vegetables are overrated is because many of them, most of them I would say, have very high carbohydrate contents. So carbohydrates are something I've really dogged on in multiple videos in the past, so I don't want to get too in-depth on it again. I'm going to link my own video in the top right if you want to hear an explanation about it in detail. But I'm just going to leave it at carbs make you fat and carbs make you inflamed. Those are the two things carbs do for you, and really overall, they're not good for you. You shouldn't be having them, and it's perfectly safe to not have them because there's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. You don't need carbohydrates to live and survive and thrive, so you don't need to be eating them. Carbohydrates are not good for you. You should be avoiding them. Fruits and vegetables have pretty high carb content, and that is why I say that, part of the reason why I say that fruits and vegetables are overrated. The final reason I say that fruits and vegetables are overrated is because they are very genetically modified. Now, it's very popular for people to say that, fruits and vegetables are natural. They're the foundation of a healthy diet because it's what you see in nature. Already, that's an argument riddled with fallacies. Just because something is natural doesn't inherently mean that it's good for us. But even that aside, are fruits and vegetables as we have them today really even natural? I would say for the most part, no. What you might not know is that many fruits and vegetables that you see today didn't even exist 100, 500, or 1,000 years ago. They're almost quite literally man-made. And a lot of the fruits that, we do know have existed for a long time and seemingly are naturally occurring, they are still a lot more different and basically a different kind of food, different kind of fruit or vegetable than they were in their sort of inception and what was naturally occurring due to genetic modification and crossbreeding. You see, the thing is that fruits and vegetables in their natural forms were very small, fibrous foods which had very big seeds and very little edible material on them. And on top of that, they didn't really taste very good. They were generally very bitter. But humans, through genetic modification and crossbreeding, basically bred these fruits to have the best possible and most favorable characteristics possible. So instead of being super small, fibrous with huge seeds, we made them big with small seeds and a lot of edible material. And really, to top it off, we made these fruits, we bred these fruits to be like as sweet as possible. And that is partially why they have such high carb content. But that genetic modification, besides the carb content and whatever else may happen, are we really sure that it is good for us to be eating foods that are quite literally genetically modified by engineers and scientists and whatever? Who knows what kind of, I'm not even saying there's any malicious intent here, but if we're really changing a natural food, already natural foods doesn't mean that it's good for us, but this isn't even natural. This is something that we have completely like perverted into something different. How do we know that there aren't certain things in here that are through the genetic modification that are going to be even worse for us, worse for our body to eat? This genetic modification and crossbreeding of fruits is one of the reasons why some people sort of consider fruits and vegetables to be the OG original processed food. And it's kind of hard to argue against them. They're right in a way. We really crossbred these foods and created completely new ones, new foods that wouldn't have existed in nature. And just because that crossbreeding and that genetic modification happened 100 years ago, when we weren't looking at it, we weren't seeing it, and because it comes out of the ground, we think, oh, it's natural. But again, is it really natural? And again, is our body really equipped to deal with the potential negatives that can arise out of eating a completely synthetic food? I don't think so, and I wouldn't take the risk. So these were 5 reasons why fruits and vegetables are overrated and probably even bad for you. Now, I know that many of the claims I've made in this video will be very controversial and seen as like blasphemy or something. There will probably be somebody in the comments saying, oh, you're stupid, oh, this is just a lie or whatever. But it's not a lie. I know, I've done a lot of research on these topics, and if you have any doubts on whatever I've said, you can go look into it yourself. Everything I've said is verifiable. It can be fact-checked as long as you look at, proper science and not just ideology-backed science where it's just correlational studies or whatever. If you actually look into the proper science and mechanisms for many of the things I've claimed in this video, you'll see that they're sound. So with that, this video is basically done. If you found this video informative, useful, or helpful in any kind of way, I would suggest subscribing to the channel, but also checking out my Skool community in the description below. It's free to join, and in there's a free course which goes over the basics and fundamentals of training, diet, and recovery. It'll help you build your dream physique and also help you do it in a healthy way. I focus not only on helping you build muscle, but helping you do it in the healthiest way possible. So if that sounds interesting to you, again, check out the link in the description. It's free, no obligation on you. It's a win-win for both of us. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.